claiming Russia launched an intercontinental ballistic missile this morning known as the ICBM. It would be the first time that weapon has been used in this war. The Kremlin not offering a comment today. Trey Yingst is on the ground in Kyiv with all the details. Hi, Trey.
Jillian, good morning. Ukrainian officials say overnight Russia launched an intercontinental ballistic missile into Ukraine, targeting the city of Dnipro. Now, if confirmed, this would be the largest weapon used against Ukraine since the war began in February of 2022. And it also raises questions about the message Russia is looking to send, given that ICBMs can carry nuclear weapons. Now, Western officials did tell Reuters they do not believe this was an ICBM. They say it was a ballistic missile. The Ukrainians have yet to update their comment. The Russians have also not publicly commented on the strike that injured 2 people or an additional 7 hypersonic cruise missiles they fired into Ukraine. The escalation comes as Ukrainian forces are now targeting deeper into Russia using U.S. and British-supplied long-range missiles, while overnight the Biden administration approved the transfer of anti-personnel mines to Ukraine. These moves are seen by the Russians as crossing a red line, prompting officials here in Kyiv to brace for an increase in missile and drone attacks. Fox News visited a civilian emergency response center to see how the Ukrainian capital is preparing for those attacks. The city's mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, says air defense around Kyiv is still working well, but that Ukraine is fighting for its survival. Almost 3 years later, more than 1,000 days into this conflict and invasion, how would you describe the current state?
It's difficult to explain. I have a feeling it's one long day, and we fighting to survive, and we fighting for our future to be part of the European family, to be the part of the democratic world. And it's difficult time because we do it everything to be strong. Because Russians pay attention just for strong position.
Today was the first snowfall of the winter in the Ukrainian capital, and it's a reminder of how difficult this winter will be for Ukrainian civilians as the Russians continue to target this country's power grid. Jillian?
All right, Trey Yingst in Kyiv for us. Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley.
Right.
Millions of people were wiped out in a matter of minutes.
Joel 2. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains. mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained, all faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and the houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, call on Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, King of kings, Lord of lords, God of gods. Much love to his son as well, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Shout out to the elect, whoever they may be among Israel. Much love to the prophets who give this wisdom and knowledge and understanding for the stability of times and the strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is a treasure. Shout out to the Akim, the brothers that's in the word. They go to the highways and byways. They do their videos. They do everything in their power to show Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai that they love him. Much love to the Akwaf, the beautiful women that's in the word. And whether you got a man or not, you still fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. You listen and you learn in silence. Now today, we got another episode for you today, and today it is titled just Revelation. I was in Revelation on the highways and byways last week. Sorry for posting this late. It says our salvation at the end of your world, or I have no hope for the title of it, but this is gonna go in and dig a little bit into Revelation because a lot of it is coming true. And it's only simply, we told you so. Those of us, that believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, in the name Yahweh Shai, we believe in the word from the Most High, and it ain't wrong so far. It's quite on track. Ezekiel 38 war. Russia right now is getting their arms ready to go against Babylon, which is America. Right now, Ukraine, it's a high chance that Ukraine, as beat up as they are, because you got to understand that just because Britain and America is supplying them with these weapons, they're not there to help them. They're not physically on there, with their forces and with they soldiers there on the ground. They just fueling them with more ammunition. And it wouldn't be no surprise that by now they would run out of missiles and they would run out of equipment if it were not for the interference of America and its allies. So You know, the way it's looking at it is, you know, if Putin wants to at this moment, he could be able to obliterate Ukraine with just the push of a button. They said the ICBM missile wasn't nuclear ready, but from the looks of it and the way it looked, it looked like it was, but you know, it's quite unnatural. You know, the way it looked very unnatural, very demonic. Like it says in the book of Revelations, which we're gonna get to, it says he caused a fire to come down from heaven. So this is exact interpretation of him using that power to make fire come down from heaven. So right now we at that point to where it's pretty much World War III. It's been World War III for a couple of years. This is how it started. No, this is how it starts with these small wars, these small problems, and then we get into a point to where we getting close to where it's about to be just all out war. And from the start of it, it's going to be U.S. Babylon versus the Bear, um, aka Russia. You know, and things are getting started. Things are heating up, and I'm gonna get some of that in Revelation. And Donald Trump also had a speech about it too. So if I'm able to post that speech, I will. Um, I don't want to get copyrighted or get it blocked because last time I posted a video with a lot of informative stuff in there, or you know, video about the World of Worlds, a scene from the World of Worlds when you know the angels come down from heaven and they start destroying everybody. It wasn't displayed because it was part of some copyrights or whatever. So um I shouldn't get copyrighted for that, but I don't know. I might not post it. I might just keep posting the cut scenes that everybody else is doing because it's safer that way. But yeah, man, we in those times. We in those times, and I told you so moment. Everybody's been saying it, and you know, right now I'm gonna get a video about that too. Right now, everybody want to get ready for Christmas and get ready for Thanksgiving when that is not the spirit that's over this place. That's not the spirit of what's happening. You know, right now, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, his wrath is about to come down on this place, and and um it's because of Israel's whoredom too, and it's almost time for him to collect the debt that Babylon owes him, because Babylon owes him a debt of blood. So, you know, he's coming to collect, and then he not only coming to collect, he gonna start with the house of Israel. So we're gonna get some of Revelation and continue from there. I was on the highways and byways last weekend, and just getting some of that in because that's the kind of spirit that we in. And hmm, let me see if I can get this. I want to get it, but I'm scared. I don't want to get it blocked or copyrighted. So let's see. Let me get what I've been looking for. Where is it? Because man, this shit is coming into play, and this is one of the reasons why we are about to get punished the way we are. Um, Truly, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and the name Yahweh Shai is among us. Yahweh Shai and his angels, and Yahweh Shai's right hand man, being Michael, and the other holy angels like Satan, and Uriel, Gabriel, Azazel, Raphael, um, um, it's a whole other number of them too.
I told you that December 25th was a pagan day? Or what if I told you the pagans used December 25th as a day to complete a satanic ritual? What if I told you that? I guarantee most people have never heard that before. But the problem is, we don't ask questions.
For instance, why do you bring a tree into your house on Christmas? Why do you put that star on the top of that tree? Why do you also deck it with ornaments with silver and gold? Also, why do people kiss under the mistletoe? Why do we light candles on Christmas? Why do you do all of these things? The answer is you don't even know. So what we're going to do, we're going to get into the history and we're going to find out where these things come from so you can make a conscious decision whether you want to continue to follow and celebrate Christmas or not. We're going to be reading from this book called Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop. It says the festivals of Rome are innumerable, but 5 of the most important may be singled out for elucidation, viz. Christmas Day, Lady Day, Easter, the Nativity of St. John, and the Feast of Assumption. Each and all of these can be proved to be Babylonian. And first, as to the festival in honor of the birth of Christ, or Christmas, how comes it that the festival was connected with the 25th of December? There is not a word in the scriptures about the precise day of his birth or the time of year when he was born. What is recorded there implies that whatsoever time his birth took place, it could not have been on the 25th of December. December 25th.
Well, rumor has it that lesson within lesson, Yahweh Shai's, they don't have the correct date, but Yahweh Shai's birthday was in the time of the Passover, and the Passover is in the spring. It is confirmed that. So, with that being said, that Jesus' birthday being on December 25th is a lie, because why would the King of the Jews be born in a dead season? And everything is, it is a time when everything is dead. It is a time when everything is asleep. So it would also make more sense for him to be born in the time of renewal, which is the time of rebirth and season, when everything is beautiful, everything is bloomed, and this season is spring. It's without a doubt spring. And his first Passover was also at the age of 12, I do believe, when he went, and that is another indication of him being born in the springtime. So that right there is a couple of hints and a couple of clues. It's also proof. Some of the, I don't really remember too much of it. What's that man name? The one who they call John, who they believe is John in One West. He also confirmed it, and he had a lot more to go into. I was listening a couple of years ago, and it was without a doubt proof. So, like I said, you can get notes from Great Millstone, but I don't really represent them, or I'm not a part of them, but I can't deny their wisdom. They have a lot of wisdom, and you can take notes from that,
Goes all the way back to ancient Babylon, all right? They had paganistic customs and rituals. It was during the time of the winter and summer solstice. The winter solstice is the time where the night is at its longest extent, and the summer solstice is the time when the daytime is during its longest extent. So the pagans back then took these 2 days and they started to make deities out of them, with the winter solstice being dark, representing evil, and the summer solstice being the light, representing the good. The pagans took these days and they started to make deities out of these days. So, for instance, like the Egyptian god Horus, he was born on December 25th. The Greek god Helios, he was born on December 25th. The Greco-Roman god Apollo, he was born on December 25th. The Hindu god Mithra was also born on December 25th. And also Baal, who was named after Nimrod, who after Nimrod's death became deified by his mother Semiramis, and who was said to become the sun god, he was also born on December 25th. So all the historians and the elite know that December 25th was always used as a day to conjure up demons and to complete a satanic ritual. They already know this already. So what they've done is they've taken the Bible and they've amalgamated it with this pagan day and masked it over with Christ and got the whole world celebrating this demonic paganistic day without them even knowing. At the time that the angels announced his birth to the shepherds of Bethlehem, they were feeding their flocks by night in the open fields. Now, no doubt the climate of Palestine is not so severe as the climate of this country, but even there, though the heat of the day be considerable, the cold of the night from December to February is very piercing. And it was not the custom for the shepherds of Judea to watch their flocks in the open fields later than about the end of October. So what the Bible does substantiate is that during the time that Christ was born, the shepherds were out in the fields grazing the flock. So Christ could not have been born during the time of December 25th because it was not the custom of the shepherds of Judea to be out in the dead middle of winter trying to graze flock. That is just not a custom of the shepherds of Judea. At the birth of Christ, every woman and child was to go to be taxed at the city whereto they belonged, whither some had long journeys, but the middle of winter was not fitting for such a business, especially for women with child and children to travel in. Therefore, Christ could not be born in the depth of winter. You see that? They said Christ could not be born in the depth of winter because during that time, Christ's parents had to go back to the city of Bethlehem where Christ was born to pay a tax because the Romans set up publicans so people could come back to the cities where they were from to pay tribute. And the Romans would not have set up a time like that during that time of winter because people had to travel. If you know anything about the history of Judea, if you know anything about the history of the Israelites, you know that they traveled on foot, they traveled on camels, right? But they don't have heat to keep themselves warm for them to travel like that. Like we have today, we got cars. We can jump in a car and drive 50 miles to an area because we got heat in our car. They didn't have that back then. They had to travel on foot and they had to travel with animals. So the Romans would not have set up a taxation time during the dead middle of winter for these people to come pay tribute. It just would not happen. So that also proves that Christ was not born during the time of December 25th. Okay, so let's get the definition of Christmas out of the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. It says Christmas, the anniversary of the birth of Christ, and its observance celebrated by most Protestants and Roman Catholics on December 25th, by Eastern Orthodox churches on January 6th, and by the Armenian Church on January 19th. The first mention of its observance on December 25th is in the time of Constantine, about AD 325. The date of the birth of Christ is not known. See, all of the scholars know that Christ was not born on December 25th. They know this already. They know Christ was, this is factual information to all of the scholars. They know this. Constantine even knew when he set it up. He knew that Christmas had nothing to do with Christ. He knew that already. He knew it was a pagan day to complete a satanic ritual. He knew that. How then did the Roman Church fix on December the 25th as Christmas Day? Why thus? Long before the 4th century and long before the Christian era itself, a festival was celebrated among the heathen at the precise time of the year in honor of the birth of the son of the Babylonian queen of heaven. And back during the time of the Romans, they had a day called Saturnalia. It was the same thing as Christmas. The same way you celebrate Christmas today, they celebrated Saturnalia on the same scale that we celebrate Christmas today. where these men would walk around with no clothes on. They would engage in sexual acts with other men. They would give each other gifts and sing songs. And it was the same way you celebrate Christmas today. That's where the concept of Christmas came from, Saturnalia. So these people were celebrating Christmas way before they ever heard about a Christ. Way before they ever heard about a Christ, they were celebrating Christmas. The Romans were with Saturnalia. This Saturnalia, it started out with 2 days, from December 17th to December 19th. And then they changed it all the way to a week. So the Romans of antiquity were celebrating Christmas before they knew anything about a Christ. They were celebrating Christmas. The only difference is they was worshiping the Babylonian god Nimrod, reincarnated as Talmud. And they changed his name to Saturn. It's the same God. It is the same exact God. And if you know anything about the history of religion, you know all the religion comes from Rome. Rome gave everybody their religion. That's where the Baptists come from. That's where the Seventh-day Adventists come from. That's where the Jehovah's Witnesses come from. That's where the Catholics come from. That's where Christianity comes from. It all comes from ancient Rome. And it may be fairly presumed that in order to conciliate the heathen and to swell the number of the nominal adherents of Christianity, the same festival was adopted by the Roman Church, giving it only the name of Christ. This tendency on the part of Christians to meet paganism halfway was very early developed. So during the time of Constantine, Constantine devised a wicked scheme so he can take the Christians and the pagans and bring them under one umbrella. That's what he was trying to do. But at the time, the pagans was kicking back against it. The pagans didn't want to do it because the pagans thought they was going to have to give up their Saturnalia and all the other things that they was worshiping. So Constantine said, you know what? If you guys like to worship that Saturnalia and all these other demonic things that y'all like to do, don't worry about that. You can still do that if you come under this branch of Christianity. And the Christians, they knew that they can still worship Jesus and all these other things. So the pagans was like, hey, if I don't have to give up nothing and I can keep doing all the same things I've been doing, hey, let's do it. Let's make it happen. We can do it. So that's...
And mind you that so the true form of Christmas and Thanksgiving got a lot to do with witchcraft, sodomy, sex magic, and other things that are not lawful in the Bible. Later on he gonna get to his point, but as far as I'm concerned, I wanted to add in, and right now people are actually paying attention to the wrong things. They actually trust in the shadow of Egypt. They trust in America, but all of this is going to come in vain in the short years that is leading up to the climax of this end of the world scenario, the return of the Messiah, his second coming, and the destruction of Babylon, and the destruction of the seven-headed dragon as a whole. Because right now this is not what we should be worried about, and the environment that we in is causing us to is causing those of us that don't want to see to sort of band together, in a wickedness and in a blindness, so they so afraid of the truth that they turn a blind eye. So coping with all of this madness is getting together with family members, still going out to go party, having a good time, being around their loved ones, going to celebrate and going to go buy presents to give to one another, getting ready for parties, the dumbest shit ever. And right now, that is not the spirit you should be in. You should be in a prepared spirit. You should be ready for these things that are coming to pass. You should try to keep yourself as spiritually clean as possible. Be on the lookout for these things. Like it says, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil have come down on you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. Russia right now is showing America that they have a seriously short time, before they do a preemptive strike. According to the prophecy right now, we know prophecy as it is in perfect order, but we don't know how it is manifested into the real world. So we are paying attention to that to see what Yahweh Shem Shai's next move is. And evidently he's made his next move, and he's stirring the heart of these kings to go to the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of slaughter, and it'll be a sacrifice there for them to be destroyed. And right now, one of the stages is to set the king of the bottomless pit. Right now is Putin, aka Russia. That's where it's at. To come out from his sleeping place and to go against Babylon, which is this great whore. So that right there is major indications, and we get into a point to where why does any of this matter? But like I said, as in the days of Noah, so too shall be the coming of the Son of Man. So in the days of Noah, they were eating and drinking and marrying, and they knew not until the flood came and took them away. So they was getting warnings for over, like, I think 200 years or so from Noah, and he was the only one at that time on the highways and the byways warning people and telling people to repent, for that the times is nigh, and nobody would listen to him and nobody cared. But on the day that the flood came, and it never really rained before during those times. So when the rain came, well, actually it probably did, but it didn't rain the way they was expecting it to. So when the time came and it started raining, and then a week later it kept raining, and then another week after that the rain and the floods increased, then they realized that Noah was telling the truth. And long story short, Yahweh Shem Shai sent his angels to open those floodgates, and it's water under us and it's water above us. So like they say, the windows of heaven, Yahweh opened them, and in the wind in heaven is a lot of water up there. They call the sky the first ocean, and then on the ground is the second ocean. And Yahweh opened it and let all that water in and destroyed all the world, destroyed all of these people. Back then we had Pangea was broken up due to this cause, which already foretold the positions of the nations on how they would be today. So this was already pre-planned. Like they said, Yahweh knew the end before he started creating the world. Before he started making this planet, he knew how to end it, and how to bring upon this rebirth, and so on and so forth. But they were doing the same things in the past now today. So no matter how much you warn these people, no matter how much you tell them what's going on, no matter how much you try to inform them, they will not listen. In fact, due to fear and due to them being discouraged, they will turn away. So but right now it's a hard time to return and to come back under Yahweh Shem Shai, because these things are going to happen. It says, you shall hear wars and rumors of wars and the distress of nations, but be thou not concerned, for the end is not nigh. It's not close it's close, it's getting closer, but it's not near. But we still got to go through a couple of prophecies before it blows wide open. But as far as I'm concerned, we not vulnerable. America is not vulnerable to America is vulnerable to a preemptive strike. They vulnerable to a retaliation. And the way Putin had the submarines in different parts of America, is America has no barriers. America is like one giant fat ass island. They don't have no barriers. They don't have no walls to protect them. So those were threat displays of Russia. But now it's coming to a time to where Putin is really going to send these submarines carrying these missiles, whether they be nuclear or not. It's still enough to do some damage and to make an example, and he can just send them and they will come. And like they said, they get in they having a hard time detecting these nuclear carrying submarines, and they can just pop up and just, or he can just shoot one from Russia to over here. So we don't know how it's going to play out, but the prophecies must come to pass for sure. The angels, they probably Yahweh probably allowed them to have something to happen, but not close to that magnitude yet. But like I said, something can happen, and something will happen. They will retaliate. So, we, like I said, we in that red dawn. It's that red dawn energy to where you went to sleep and you woke up, and next thing you know, America's under attack, martial law, under great siege, and just before yesterday, everything was fine. Now you wake up to soldiers airdropping on you. There is no more money. Power grid is going out. These things are going to happen. Like Yahweh says, it's the thief in the night. And if you were sober minded, you would be up when the thief came. You would know that he was there. So that's like it says, be sober, be vigilant, for your adversary the devil walketh about like a lion, seeking who he may devour. So we can finish this up so I can get to the next video.
All the pagans and the Christians came under one umbrella through Constantine. Even though Constantine knew it had nothing to do with Christ, it had nothing to do with it. He knew that. Just like Constantine knew, the pastors know too. You got these pastors going around teaching everybody that December 25th is Christ's birthday, when it has nothing to do with Christ at all. Nothing. And even when you go to like Walmart and all these stores, you don't see anything about Christ. You hear Santa Claus is coming to town. You hear Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You don't hear nothing about Christ at all. Nothing. Because it has nothing to do with Christ. They know that already. Trust me, they know this already. And they got the whole world celebrating this demonic pagan day and don't even know they conjuring up demons and spirits. And we find Tertullian, even in his day, about the year 230, bitterly lamenting the inconsistency of the disciples of Christ in this respect, and contrasting it with the strict fidelity of the pagans to their own superstition. By us, says he, who are strangers to the Sabbaths and new moons and festivals once acceptable to God, the Saturnalia, the Feast of January, the Brumalia, and Matronalia are now frequented. Gifts are carried to and fro, New Year's Day presents are made within, and sports and banquets are celebrated with uproar. Oh, how much more faithful are the heathen to their religion, who take special care to adopt no solemnity from the Christians. Upright men strive to stem the tide, but in spite of all their efforts, the apostasy went on till the church, with the exception of a small remnant, was submerged under the pagan superstition. So during that time, when Constantine brought everybody under the same roof, you still had a few group of Christians who was still following Christ, who still wanted to follow the Bible as it is written. But because so many...
But mind you that during those times too, the times of Rome, it says in the Apocrypha that a lot of them a lot of our people still believed in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. They still believed in the Bible and the true name and all of that, and they were actually taken over and had these religions and these holidays pushed on them. It was a story where a woman and 3 of her kids were put into a boiling bowl of hot water, but all because they wouldn't eat pork in front of the king of, I do believe, the king of Greece or Rome. I do believe one of the two. I think King Alexander of Greece. I do believe so. After his reign or whatever, I'm going off. I know that it's not the correct. I have to do some more research. It's so much information to get old when you pull it out of your mental library. It's hard to find. It's like looking for the mind is like a library and a big library, and you're trying to look for this book that's hard to find. Trying to recollect per se. So much knowledge, you get lost in it. But in this story, It was all because they would not eat pork. They would not give up their religion and worship their holidays and worship these false Sabbaths and worship these Christmases, these Halloweens, Valentine's Day, so on and so forth. And they were thrown into boiling boiling water with the rest of the Israelites that wouldn't convert. And the sad part about it is that when the first came to mother to the end of the son, the third son, and the mother she laughed at the king because the king was like, give this up and I will give you richness and I will set you free, and all you got to do is eat the pork. All you got to do is acknowledge us by eating that pork, you know, and the pork was probably right there in her face and she would have been let go. But this is during the time when Israel was getting punished by Yahweh Shem Shai prior to 70 AD. And she laughed and she said no in Hebrew. And one of the sad moments in the story is when the son called himself trying to talk back to the Greek, to the emperor, and in result they cut the son's tongue out of his mouth, you know, for him talking back and for him defending his for defending Yahweh, for defending Yahweh Bashem El Shai. He got his tongue cut out, and the mother laughed and said, I'm sorry, I'll deny you. And she was like, I'm sorry, my sons, but this is our fate for us going off and leaving the Lord, and we'll have a better life the next life. And she jumped into the boiling water and passed away. And so it got to the third son. The third son was the extreme one, and damn, I'm trying to remember because this story was so sad. I only read it one time. That's how sad it was. I didn't want to read it again, bro. Like the Bible is not a joke. The Apocrypha is a part of the Bible. Apocrypha means secret book, but it was so sad. And what he said, what the king said to him was like, I will give you power. And he was like, I will give you power and richness beyond all your imagination, only if you eat this pork. And he was like, I'll make you king among your people if you eat this pork. And he said that I will not, and you know, I will not partake, and I would rather join my family in this boiling, and it was a giant cauldron of boiling water with the rest of the Israelites boiled alive and dead. And his family was pretty much already boiling alive and dead. And he jumped in, and he was the youngest. He was just a child. He jumped in this boiling cauldron, and he died with his family. So you know that this right here in our past and these religions is the reason why Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to destroy Babylon. It's the reason why Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to destroy this old Roman Empire spirit and these Greek ideologies, these demonic Babylonian religions, because you know Babylon is a cauldron pot of mixed religions. They worship every kind of god here, you know. So this is part of the reason why. And back then, like he said, for the Christians and the pagans during this time when they took our religion, um, they were trying to convert us to Christianity. Well, Christianity was made up. They were trying to convert us and force us to worship paganistic holidays and worship their religion and worship their ideology, you know, and they were killing us to do so. So, you know, that right there I wanted to put in, even though it came with a whole story. Sorry.
Pagans came in during that time, they kind of washed those Christians out, and they eventually moved on and let paganism take over. And that's how we got Christmas today, because it was passed down from the Babylonians to Rome to the Greeks and everybody else. And that's how we got it today. That Christmas was originally a pagan festival is beyond all doubt. The time of year and the ceremonies with which it is still celebrated proves its origins. In Egypt, the son of Isis, the Egyptian title for the Queen of Heaven, was born at this very time, about the time of the winter solstice. The very name by which Christmas is popularly known among ourselves, Yule Day, proves at once its pagan and Babylonian origin. Yule, as the Chaldee name for an infant or little child, And as the 25th of December was called by our pagan Anglo-Saxon ancestors, Yule Day, or the Child's Day, at the night that it preceded it, Mother Night, long before they came into contact with Christianity, that sufficiently proved its real character. The candles in some parts of England lighted on Christmas Eve and used so long as the festive seasons last were equally lighted by the pagans on the eve of the festival of the Babylonian god to do honor to him. For it was one of the distinguishing peculiarities of his worship to have lighted wax candles on his altars. So when you light those candles, guess what? You are representing and worshiping Nimrod. It is completing a satanic ritual. It is Babylonian. It is a paganistic custom. And what's crazy to me is most Christians think that they're worshiping Christ by celebrating Christmas, not knowing in the very Bible that they read, it tells you not to worship it. Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. You see that? So in the Bible, it says, learn not the way of the heathen. It said they take a tree and they cut it out the forest and they deck it with silver and gold. What is that talking about? Christmas. That Christmas tree represents a false god. The Christmas tree, now so common among us, was equally common in pagan Rome and pagan Egypt. In Egypt, that tree was the palm tree. In Rome, it was the fir, the palm tree denoting the pagan Messiah as Baal Tamar, the fir referring to him as Baal Berith, the mother of Adonis, the sun god and great mediatorial divinity, was mystically said to have changed into a tree. You see that? So these are all pagan gods, Baal Tamar and Baal Berith. These are all false gods that stem from pagan Babylon. So when you're bringing that tree in the house and decking it and trying to fix this tree up all pretty and putting lights on it, you are completing a satanic ritual. It's Babylonian. So we need to understand where these things stem from before we start celebrating certain holidays, and we need to understand where they come from. A lot of these things are pagan, they come from ancient Babylon, and a lot of these things are basically having the entire world completing a satanic ritual.
And with that, I'm gonna get part 2 right now because I'm running out of time, and I've been having a lot of trouble with the Mobizen because of my old tablet. So I'm gonna cut this short and get to the next episode.